Following his impressive first-round knockout victory at UFC Seattle, many have touted Jean Silva as a future top contender of the featherweight division and possibly a future champion. So let's break down his style and have a look at why Jean Silva is that damn good. So, the key parts of his style are his insane defense, particularly his lean backs, his powerful counter-striking, respectable takedown defense, and a nice level of creativity mixed into his game that makes him very exciting to watch. So, let's start with his defense. Jean Silva's favorite defensive move is the lean back, especially since he has fought against so many southpaws. A lot of his opponents are throwing up that left kick, that left high kick, and he just has the timing down on it perfect. I have never seen someone hit that many lean backs in a fight. This was on best display against Charles Jourdain at UFC 303. I'm pretty sure you can find the fight on YouTube, but it's just really quite incredible. He stays just enough in range where he's still in his stance and he's still stable and balanced, but he's just able to get out of the way perfectly and return back to a position where he can counter effectively. The way he can lean back so much is because of his stance. He has a very wide, not entirely bladed, but he has a very long stance, which allows for the lean back. If you look at Muay Thai and you look when dudes lean back, they will widen their stance just for the lean back. And because Jean has that stance all the time, it just makes it on quick draw. And he also has a very good high guard, moving it around, moving back and forth accordingly, understanding when to, stay in range, when to go out of range. Against big punches like Drew Dober, he'll often use the high guard a lot more. And he's also been very proficient at just blocking kicks. If he doesn't want to, be evasive and he wants to stay in range, he will just, double forearm guard the left kicks. It's just very impressive, and I think it's a really underrated part of his game, his defensive skills. Powerful counter-striking. The most impressive part of Jean Silva's game is his incredible counter-striking skills and his check hook. So, against Weston Wilson, you'd see he'd kind of skip into range, pretty telegraphed, pretty slowly, he'd almost step through stances, and Jean would just lean back ever so slightly, plant his feet, check left hook, and it floored him right off the bat. And we see this multiple times in the fight. Just lean back, left hook, lean back, left hook. We see Wilson step through on a combination and go for a kick at super close range. Terrible idea. Lean back, left hook, pretty much sits him in his chair, and again, comes in, left hook, sits him down eventually. Jean just lands that counter so many times, he just goes on to finish the fight. Against Jourdain, again, steps through on the combinations, rushes forward. Probably because of the lean backs often bait out step throughs, because if you're leaning back in a straight line, stepping through covers the distance well, and Jean just nails him with the left hook and drops him. And against Drew Dober has a very obvious skip and he's very wide. So Jean was just, regularly left hook. He'd even do pullback right hands, pullback uppercuts. Even started doing a step in lead elbow over the top that started working pretty good for him. But eventually he discovered the timing. When Dober, he essentially skips in. It's very telegraphed. And he just stepped across, spinning elbow, which hurt Drew Dober so badly, and then dropped him in the third round, and eventually the fight was stopped by a cut. But just, he's shown consistent, excellent timing on that counterpunching, and he counterpunches hard, really hard. He's a powerful, powerful fighter. Solid takedown defense. While he hasn't shown off his takedown defense much in the UFC, if you go through his regional career and even look at, the brief exchanges of grappling, you'll see that Jean has very good grappling and very good jiu-jitsu. Against Charles Jourdain shot quite a few takedowns, and Jean was able to get a whizzer, get good underhooks, frame off the head, get good get-ups, just maintain control probably, and just consistently do the right things and have enough strength, albeit he didn't miss weight in this fight, but just overall have the strength and the skill to, hang in the grappling. And when you're a very dynamic striker, very explosive, that's a really, really important thing to have, especially if you're super popular, and you want to keep this kind of streak going. Creativity. While not as dynamic and flashy as his teammate Mauricio Huffy, Jean Silva does possess a solid variety of creative and more dynamic striking techniques. He has a variety of nice body and high kicks. He even implements flying knees where he gets ridiculous amounts of height on them. On the regional scene, he has some ridiculous KOs with his flying knee. He also possesses, again, excellent spinning elbows, as seen against Drew Dober, being able to implement them really well. And he also has really, really good trips. And again, I love trips, as noted in my Pure Yarn video, having like step through sweeps and even just chucking Drew Dober away in the clinch is just insanely impressive. And I think with someone with this much popularity and hype, it's great to have those tools in your game, but also to use them in a very professional manner. Let me rephrase it or talk about it a bit more. But he doesn't just do them for the sake of flash, right? His dynamic techniques are done with a purpose, and they're set up well, and they're used sparingly. He's smart about his techniques, and that is just insanely impressive to see for a guy who is, relatively fresh, at least in the UFC. But it's what we like to see. Flaws. I said this before in my Pure Yarn video, and I'll say it again, there is no such thing as the perfect MMA fighter. We can get very close, but there's always issues. And Jean Silva's issue is a lack of focus in fights. Regularly, he's seen with a very nice energy, and while that's great, he regularly, takes breaks to dap up his opponent multiple times when it just really seems unnecessary. And even against Drew Dober, he was seen talking to Dober's corner, and he eventually did get cracked with a really big shot. Did recover, he has a great chin, but just this kind of energy where he's not entirely focused. If someone just goes in there and ignores the fact that he's trying to dap you up and just nails him with a good shot, it could, get him caught. While he has made it work, there is a chance he gets caught by it. But other than that, Jean Silva does not have many issues in his game that we've seen so far. And all signs are pointing towards Jean Silva versus Bryce Mitchell, a matchup that I think he wins very, very dominantly. Do I think that Jean will become a champion? Maybe. There's a very good chance, but I really do think he needs to tighten up his focus in the cage a lot more. But he can very much be top 3 level within the near future. So anyway, guys, that was the breakdown. Hope you guys enjoyed, and see ya.